Okay, it looks like we're recording. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Downing, and what I'm going to try to move through today, I think I'm going to attempt to make two videos related to the handbook that I've been working on for, oh geez, maybe 15 years now, and adding to it over time. And it's essentially the book of the class. So let's dive right in. Let me share my screen. There we go. So it says OER Journalism Handbook. So I've been working on this in a couple of ways. OER means Open Educational Resource, and I've been working with the people at Westchester University on a grant that they received. I believe it's a federal grant related to providing open access materials to people. I mean, the cost of educational material, meaning books, is high. So the idea is, can we ease the burden on students by providing materials to them free of charge, written by experts in the field? So I've been working on this. I've been advising student newspapers for, I think this is my 16th year. I've been teaching for, I don't know, 34, more than I'd care to admit. But this is my effort that I've been putting together over time. And rather than having you go out and buy, a textbook that costs 80 or $100, I'm providing this to you. And in addition, I teach all of my classes in computer labs, and I've tried to bring a book into those classes, and it doesn't work because we almost have to shove the computers out of the way and then open these books. There's not enough physical desk space. And then, with the development of the internet, we actually have our resources online. So when we sit at our computers, it just works better if I have this sort of thin book with 72 pages, and there's exercises at the end. So that's the quick background on it. So let me plunge forward with this, and we'll look at the table of contents. Here we go. OER Journalism Handbook, updated for 2022 by Dr. Michael Downing, Professor of English, Kutztown. And here's the title page. This is the 5th edition. That is a clue to me that I've updated this now 5 times over the years. And there's my name. Here's copyright information here. And it is governed by Creative Commons license. And this is a fairly strict license. It still is in the spirit of open education and open access, but I don't want anybody to be able to take this and then sell it commercially. I've put a lot of work into this. And they also have to cite me, like this is, they can take it and rework it and continue to make it available. That's fine, but no commercial purposes. So, for example, if you were a professor working at a California university and you bumped into this and said, this fits what I want to do in my class, but it could use a chapter on something else, then they would be free to do that. They're free to share. They're free to adapt and remix. They must give attribution, non-commercial, and then no additional restrictions. So the reason I'm covering this in some detail is because it's important in terms of Creative Commons licensing. If you're not familiar with that, we can talk more about it. If you've heard about it before, maybe through me, and let me show you where else that comes into play. So here's my website that I've been working on for, I don't know, about 8 or 9 months, maybe. Just resetting the zoom there. It just started out as like a Keystone training website, and then I took it into my classes and created blogs. But now I'm trying to formalize it and refine it a bit more. And this just popped into my head, my writing Wanderland, right? A little bit silly, but it works. An online home where I teach, learn, publish, and explore the world. And here is the welcome to my website, which is here. Here's the blog, which we'll go to in a second. I don't want to dive deep into this, but I'm showing you Creative Commons and then about. So, and then the blog. So there's an introduction. Yeah, I really don't want to dive into this. Where I'm taking you, though, is Creative Commons license. Attribution, non-commercial. It's the same license that governs the book I'm working on. And I'll open this in a new tab so that you can see what Creative Commons is all about. And, if you're a writing major, an English major, anybody interested in writing and publishing, this is why I'm talking about this. All right, let me pop back then to here. It's funny, it says the Cube. When I was the advisor at Butler County Community College, I was working on this as it related to the campus newspaper, which I advised. It was called the Cube because it's BC3. Yeah, it's a B and a C and a little 3, like squared. All right, so that's all that. I'm giving you a big brain dump here. Here's the book then, table of contents, introduction, format, deadlines, the 30 mark, if you're aware of that or not, hitting the space bar once. That's a thing. When I was trained as back in typing class in high school, they said hit it twice, and now it's once, and in publishing it's once. In-house style, we'll talk about track changes in peer review, naming files, Associated Press, numbers, abbreviations, punctuation, writing and basic coverage, 5 W's in the H, inverted pyramid, storytelling, headlines, subheads, and leads, libel, obituaries, typical obituary form, press releases, hard news, sports, opinion, editorial. So you can see I try to quickly cover the ground. My chapters on libel or obituaries are not, they're more segments rather than chapters. My goal is to get a lot of information communicated to my students without having to read a chapter on obituaries that's 32 pages long. There's a value to that level of detail, but in an introductory course, we need to keep on moving forward. We can't get bogged down into that kind of work specifically. The other part of it is that if it was just a class in journalism, and I don't mean, what I mean by just is there's no big writing component, but there's a big writing component, a fairly significant writing component in this class. So again, we can't dive deep into books, and that's why I do things this way. Part 3 then, covering other events, speeches, spot news, investigative stories, meetings, feature writing, critiques, and reviews. I'm trying to build out this segment, part 4, on social media, a little bit at a time. Again, I have to add to and revise this as time goes by. So it says Twitter, and then understand the expectations and policies of your organization. A little bit here on ethics, and then it moves into part 6, which is exercises and self-tests. Headline, subhead, lead writing exercises. We'll definitely do that. More lead writing exercises for features, quoting, punctuation, words commonly confused, vocab words high school seniors should know. That I've taken, it's related to preparing for the SAT. Spelling quiz, spelling words, editing exercises, commas, and the answers to comma worksheets. And then there are resources, meaning a list of books and materials then at the end. So that's the table of contents. I feel like I'm rolling, so I'm just going to keep on plugging away. Whoops. So here's the introduction. It talks about, I've been a supporter of the open source movement for as long as I can remember. So I'm happy to be able to create this open educational resource. It should be available at some point, through Westchester, as I mentioned. Hopefully within the next year. We're getting to the end of the project, and I've submitted this, and I think it's in good shape. It probably needs to be proofread pretty well. Okay, so let me go into let me assess what I want to cover. Okay, I'm actually going to stop there and let this serve as an introduction.